Namaskar. I, Dr. Seema, welcome you to this episode of MANOVAAC. Here we have Guruji Naushir with us, and this is the question for him. Pranam Guruji. Childhood sexual abuse to both males and females cause mental, emotional, and psychological damage to a person. Sometimes, even in their physical relations with their partners. Is there any way to heal out this trauma which they carry throughout their life, which has come from their childhood abuse?
And this is a very serious topic. Um, Let me start by saying that what murder does to a physical body, sexual abuse, childhood sexual abuse does to a soul. I mean, it's it's killing the person at the soul level, and it's just that a dead person doesn't walk here; it's a walking dead. It's that traumatic, especially childhood sexual abuse. Now, what happens is, unfortunately, in my experience, I think 80% of people, both male and female, encounter some kind of childhood sexual abuse. This is what I have experienced. That's what I have
That's quite
come
a high
across.
figure.
Very high figure. There's so many people who come to me with these kind of issues and problems. Uh, what happens is normally it happens between the age of 5 and 15. That's the normal age where this happens, and it's a time of confused innocence, and the adult who the adult uh, predator who does this to the child takes advantage of this confused innocence of a child and lures them or tricks them into sexual abuse. Now, uh, as far as healing from this is concerned, it is not impossible, but it is difficult. I agree, it's not easy to come out of this. The first thing that you have to do to heal from sexual abuse is to not blame yourself, not take guilt of what has happened. It is entirely the perpetrator of this crime, and it is a crime, legally or otherwise. That and it was not your fault, because most people are made to feel guilty. That, oh, you would have brought it on to yourself, but how can a child bring this onto himself or herself? So first is to remove guilt, and also remove the why me syndrome. You cannot keep dwelling on this, that why did it happen to me? What was it in me that made this person do it? No, it was that person's lust or whatever it is. I mean, that is, we are not to judge that. But you have to get out of that cycle of thinking.
Because they don't see any reason why this should happen to
Exactly,
them.
exactly, exactly. They don't see a reason. They'll never get to see a reason. So you have to get out of that guilt, and you have to get out of this cycle of thinking that you may have brought it onto yourself in some way. That is the first step of healing and the most important step of healing. The second step to heal is, as an adult, to have a very understanding partner whom you can confide in and talk this over with. Because this trauma continues much beyond childhood. In fact, the implications are in the adult life. So, if you have a partner, whether married or otherwise, uh, who's understanding, who can give you a hearing, not judge you, not blame you, and kind of be a sounding board, it helps a
This exactly is the reason why
hell of a lot.
nobody speaks up because
Speaks
they
up.
fear
They fear
being
judged.
judged.
They fear being judged. They fear being rebuked. So that is what would help tremendously. Or rejected. Absolutely, or rejected. So sometimes it may be a partner. It's better if it's a life partner, but it could be a very close friend or a relative or somebody
Somebody
that's
who
a
is understanding
somebody
and
who's understanding, whom you can open up to and let it pour out of you and come out with it. Or you could even go to a counselor and or a psychiatrist and kind of open up about it.
so
It
you
would
suggest that
relieve.
it needs to be brought out and
It needs to
not
be brought
tucked
out and not
within.
bottled up. And main thing is not to feel guilty that you are responsible for it. Of course, the third alternative would be to use energetic healing, things like Reiki or pranic healing or stuff like that, because those are emotions stored. Because those are a lot of anger is stored, sometimes fear is stored, sometimes frustration is stored, hatred is stored. So, if you do energetic healing for a sustained period of time, yes, it will definitely help towards the ultimate healing from this trauma. But again, as I said, it's not easy, it takes time. There's no quick fix to it. But it can be done, it's not impossible.
Opening up can start the process of healing.
No,
And
first step is to not feel guilty and not feel responsible.
okay,
That is the first
that's
step.
how each person has to start
Start
first.
start with. Then open up to somebody whom you can confide in, who's not going to judge you, not rebuke you, not reject you. And third is energetic healing. That's the way to go about it.
Thank you so much, Guruji. But here is another question linked with the same
Topic.
topic. Is there a completion or addition of karma here?
Now here we are treading on extremely thin ice. When uh, when a child is abused sexually, it's extremely difficult to say that it is not a completion of some kind. It is a completion of some kind, simply for the fact that destiny places you in that situation with that person at that time. That coming of those factors together,
When there is apparently no move from that child's side
child's side to
to
to to
invite.
warrant that or invite that. Yeah. So I think to a large extent, yes, these are completions of sort. That does not absolve the predator,
Yes.
not at all. I mean, the predator can still come in that situation, not do anything. So it's a very dicey question whether it is completion or addition. But the moment the perpetrator goes beyond the completion of that karma and does something more, then definitely it is incurring of karma also. Yes, you could be incurring karma.
Yeah, in such situations, so how do we look at it? Should we just forgive that person, or should we take
Well,
all
if you
the
are
lawful actions and
if it's happening in front of you, definitely take some action and stop it and try to stop it at least. If it's done in, because these things don't come out at that point of time. They rarely
naturally?
they
Yeah,
rarely come out. In fact,
most of the
even
parents.
most of the adults at home try to sweep it under the
Yes,
carpet,
yes.
for sake of embarrassment. But no, if you see it happening in front of you, you most definitely should take some action. But
Won't that be addition of karma on our part?
well,
Like
without trying to harm anybody. I mean, you can
seeking
stop it.
justice is
Yeah, you can.
something,
Yeah,
and
you can stop it without harming somebody
but
else.
there will be always some element of anger and like wanting to punish that person.
I know, no, but that's not your role. That's not your role to punish somebody. That's not your role. Either if you are involved to defend yourself or to protect people you're supposed to protect. That is fine. That
Because
is
the
fine.
child may not be able to take any action,
Yes,
so
of course,
the
of course.
adults
So adults
around.
have to intervene, and if you are in a position to intervene without harming the predator and stopping it, then definitely do it.
I know it's a very very traumatic.
But I think prevention is the best cure, and I would say the best thing for a parent to do is to educate the child from 5 years of age about sexual abuse and to kind of see that it doesn't happen to their child.
Yeah, and if something like this has happened, what should be the parents' role? How they can support the child? How
By
What
being
do you
more
think?
proactively involved in the child's activities, and trying to see that something like this doesn't happen, also to instill a kind of confidence in the child, that where the child can come and openly tell the parents that, listen, I'm being harassed. So it is stopped in the very first instance and does
Yes,
not,
at times, such things don't happen
don't
in.
once, they keep repeatedly happening.
Yes.
So yeah, so that much confidence should be there in the child to come to the parent and say,
Whatever, like, as a doctor, I've heard from patients, generally they don't believe that the child is
child is
speaking
speaking
truth.
the truth. No, they should verify it. They should try their best means to verify it and not completely.
Because this thing child cannot imagine. It's beyond a child's imagination. So somewhere I think
Very rare. No,
as
children
a
do lie. Children do lie, but here they should thoroughly investigate it. At least that is mandatory. Thorough investigation is mandatory, definitely, before taking action.
but spiritual tools,
Yes.
spiritual orientation, will that help to overcome the trauma and
At a
the
later stage, not when the child is very
I know
small,
that
but
time though the
but
child
as
won't
an adult,
understand,
yes.
but even parents
Yeah,
may be
parents could
able to
handle it better.
better.
Yeah, parents could handle it better. Certainly.
Yes, here we end today's episode. I hope we know what to do in such delicate matters and stop and prevent as much as we can. And if not, at least we know what to do about. Thank you so much joining and see you for the next episode.